So 9.1, we'll go through the whole thing. So a poll shows that 493 out of 1,050 adult Americans believe it is the responsibility of the federal government to ensure that all Americans have adequate health care coverage. Obtain a point estimate for the proportion of adults who believe there's a responsibility of the federal government to ensure that all Americans have adequate health care coverage. So what is meant by a point estimate? Is a sample estimate. So our sample gives us 493 out of 1,050. So our p hat will be 493 divided by 1,050. So that p hat is equal to 0.469 or 0.47, whichever you want. Okay, I'm going to use 0.47 just to make it simpler. So to verify the initial conditions, you have one random sample, two n p hat times 1 minus p hat less than or equal to 10, and 3, that the sample size is less than or equal to 5% of the population size. So it is a random sample. You have to assume that because they didn't tell you. Number 2, we have np hat times 1 minus p hat is 1,050 times 0.47 times 1 minus 0.47. And this is around 261. So it's definitely bigger than 10. And for number 3, the population is all Americans, adults. So certainly 1,050 is less than 5% of all Americans, which is millions. Okay, so those are the initial conditions. Now we construct a 95% confidence interval for the proportion of adult Americans who believe it's the responsibility of the federal government, et cetera, et cetera. So we have our 95% for our confidence level, and we have the number of success was 493, and the number of observations is our sample size, so 1,050. So we'll go into StatCrunch. Let me find it. I had it open and it disappeared. It's probably here. Okay, so in StatCrunch, we'll go to Stat and Proportion Stats, one sample with summary. So the number of successes is 493. The number of observations, 1050. And we're doing a 95% standard confidence interval, and we compute. And these are our findings. So we have a lower limit of 0.439 and an upper limit of 0.4997, so about 0.500. Okay, so if we round this to be 0.439, 0.500, and going back, so our 95% confidence interval is 0.439 and 0.499, so 0.500. And our sentence, we are 95% confident that the proportion of adult Americans who believe it is the responsibility of the federal government to ensure all Americans have adequate health care is between 0.439 and 0.500. So between 43.9% and 50%. Okay. So next they asked us to construct a 99% confidence interval for the exact same thing. So again, we're going to have our number of successes with the same sample would be 493. And our number of observations is the same as n, so 1050. And they asked for 99% confidence level. So if we go into StatCrunch, then we can edit this. And all we're changing is the 0.99. So we don't have to type these in again. Just edit. And now we get a confidence level that has a lower limit of 0.4298 and 0.5092, or 0.430 and 0.509. So back to our classwork. We have 0.430, comma, 0.509. So we are 99% confident that, now another way to write this instead of the way I did the long way on C, we're 99% confident that the population proportion is between 0.430 and 0.509. So the effect of raising the confidence level, I'm going to put the old confidence level right above this one, which is 0.439, comma, 0.500, is we have a slightly wider confidence interval. In this case, it's only slightly wider because we're centered around 50. We're really close to 50, so it doesn't get a lot wider when it's around 50%. If our confidence, our proportion was more of a 20% or something, it would get much wider, much quicker. Okay.